Do you have no players to start this week because you're in bye week hell? I get it, man, but you know what? I got you this week. Follow us and we will get you ready for week number 7. Let's go! Cover One crew, what is going on? Your boy Chris Chow's back in the house for week number 7. Start, sit, lineup advice. We got to get the right players in. Like I said, bye week hell is upon us. The big ballers, the big teams and players that have been, carrying our fantasy team so far this season are all sitting. So we got to know who to play this week, and I got you. So let's roll, man. Let's see what week number 7 has to offer. So like I'm saying, this is probably one of the harder weeks to predict for fantasy lineup advice because all the top dogs are on the bye week. It is the Bills, the Rams, the Vikings, and those Eagles. So you got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, J.J. Dalvin. Everybody's sitting this week. It is no good, no bueno. But, I got a lot of players to get you guys ready. If you guys are struggling, man, let's go. Atlanta Falcons at those Cincinnati Bengals. Marcus Mariota is your streaming quarterback this week to trust. And next week, I'm telling y'all, I'm giving you a little foreshadow for next week. 5 boom games for Mr. Marcus Mariota. He's hitting that 15-point threshold every single week except for one. He's keeping this Atlanta Falcons team in contest. We just got to see the passing aptitude increase just a little bit more, man. Feed Drake London, feed Kyle Pitts, get that passing stats up, but he is working with his legs, finding ways to score points, and he is going to be a safe, reliable streaming quarterback for you this week. Fire up Marcus Mariota. Don't look back. Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley. This is a very difficult aspect of this backfield right now. We're waiting for Cordell Patterson to come back. They're doing an even split for the most part, 27, 21 points respectively for both these running backs. I don't trust it versus the Bengals. Good run defense this week. If you have other options, I would look the other way, but I get it. Bye week troubles, it is what it is. Drake London, mid-level risks. Same with Zacchaeus. They got mid-level risks for me right now. Zacchaeus is actually starting to pick up steam and becoming a PPR flex play if you have a PPR upside in your league. So definitely think about that. If you're struggling for some wide receivers, Zacchaeus is not a bad play, especially against the Bengals, who could run up the score, could see some garbage time productivity for Zacchaeus. We need to see Drake London break out of his funk right now because I don't like what I'm seeing. It's been far too little productivity for me to trust. I'm looking in other directions this week for London, hoping he hits on my bench because then we could talk him back up, but I get it, man. Bye weeks, I'm going to keep harping on it. Kyle Pitts, the low floor continues. It's been ugly. We need you to do something, sir, and more targets come your way. Catch those balls, corral those balls, because we need those fantasy points. Definitely a low floor for Kyle Pitts, but you're definitely starting him this week, and it is definitely tight end day on Sunday. So what is it? National Tight End Day. So you're going to start up all these tight ends this week and hope for the best. Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson, he's been kind of sputtering just a little bit. We haven't seen the high-end 30-point showings like we saw, 30 and 40 points the first 2 weeks of the season. He still gets a stud start. He's hitting a boom every single week of the season. So far, 152 points. He can always take off with his legs. And the way the Browns have been playing, you got to say that Lamar needs a good game, get right, top end game for the Ravens. They are 3-3. They're not going to want to go to 3-4. So I do believe you're going to get their best from Lamar Jackson this week. Kenyon Drake is going to be one of these guys. Is he going to hit or is he going to bust on us after, some people, emptied their fab dollars? I got him luckily for like $5 because nobody trusted it. But now J.K. Dobbins is out with that knee injury. He's getting it scoped. So there was complications in that last game, hence why we did not see him finish the contest. He is going for a scope. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. So Kenyon Drake is the lead back in this backfield. Once again, versus the Cleveland Browns. Mid-level risk, but I'm firing him up because you need some running back help, and he's going to get a lot of volume. So in volume, we trust in Kenyon Drake. Don't fail me now, buddy. Do not fail me now. Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay both get a mid-level risk. Bateman is coming off the injury. Watch the injury report. He may sit, but they're talking he's on the right side of questionable. He should suit up in this contest, which is good news. It's a cautionary start for me for Rashad Bateman because he is coming off the injury. We got to see what it's going to, how this offense, are they going to pepper him with targets, or are they going to kind of nurse him along like they've been doing with J.K. Dobbins? That would leave Devin Duvernay to see a lot more targets. I think Duvernay has the better day overall, even if Bateman does start. Mark Andrews was a scare this week, not practicing basically the entire week, but he is good to go. Stud start once again for Mark Andrews. Don't look back on National Tight End Day because he's going to have a big one, man. The Carolina Panthers facing off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers, man, what was your problem last week? You made me look foolish. I was preaching you up, but here we go again. I'm doing it again. The Carolina Panthers dumpster fire, which is, they're trading away all their assets. No more CMC. They got DJ Moore on the block, still listening to offers. Baker Mayfield still dealing with that injury. So it is PJ Walker now with Chuba Hubbard, Deontay Foreman making some kind of patch-made solution at the running back position. I don't like any of it. High risk for all those individuals. Do not look in that direction. Yes, volume could be key for Foreman or Hubbard. You can't trust any of it right now, and if you're going to play one of these individuals, I feel sorry for your team because you have zero depth. But hey, Chuba Hubbard, I think, would be the first to get the crack, and then goal line opportunities for Deontay Foreman. DJ Moore gets the mid-level risk only for me because he could get peppered with targets. Do they trust Shia Smith? Do they trust Terrace Marshall? We haven't seen these players make any noise on the field thus far, so maybe they just pepper DJ Moore until he collapses on the field this week. Who knows? We shall see. Ian Thomas, high risk as well. Stay away from the Carolina Panthers because it's going to be an ugly one again, even though Tampa Bay made me look like a fool last week. I'm doubling down on my foolishness once again this week. The Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football taking on the New England Patriots. Why do we see so many Bears games in primetime? NFL, you're killing me, man. But Justin Fields, mid-level risk this week against the Patriots defense, who is actually playing better than what I had anticipated this year. Bill Belichick has got the troops rolling. And we could see Justin Fields struggle a little bit, but the last two contests, he has hit boom games for you, so he is starting to figure things out. A little bit more in the pass game. He did miss some reads the last time we saw him on the field, but it is starting to ascend in the right direction. Justin Fields almost is at a point where we can call him a streaming quarterback. Right now, he is on the bench or on the waiver still at this point. David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, how do you figure out this backfield at this point? Montgomery did see the lion's share of touches last week. He gets a low-risk play for me this week. You're firing him up against these New England Patriots. And Khalil Herbert, he's just a better back, it looks like to me, man. More speed, more burst, more quickness. They're both good backs. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. I like David Montgomery too, but either one of these individuals has the opportunity to put you up at least 10 points in this contest. They will try to control the clock, and they will try to be safe with it this week once again. Try to figure out the pass game, but you could probably fire up David Montgomery with ease, and if you're in a pinch, you're firing up Khalil Herbert. I don't hate it, but limit your expectations because it could be low unless he finds his way into the end zone. Darnell Mooney gets a mid-level risk. Seems like he's starting to get a little chemistry with a Justin Fields. I don't fully support it just yet. Maybe flex play appeal is starting to come here. I'm looking, if you have other options, look in that direction over a Darnell Mooney, but I'm starting to like where it's going, so he can have flex appeal for you if you require it this week. Dante Pittis, St. Brown, they are just too volatile for me to trust. Same with Cole Kmet. The failure of his season continues. You can keep him on the bench, no question about that. Cincinnati going up against those Atlanta Falcons. Joey B, he is elite. And I mean, he was the best quarterback last week, and he should do it once again versus this Atlanta Falcons defense that is improving, okay? I was not giving them enough credit. They do got some secondary pieces in the back defensive backfield that are making plays, and I do like what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. They're just grinding out wins, and they're looking good in the process. So Joey B still should have a very good day. I don't think the Falcons have seen an offense like this season to really, give credit to. So, I mean, Joey B, again, stud start for me without thinking about it. Joe Mixon, low-risk play, 4 boom games for him so far this season. He will run the ball a lot. Hopefully, they're going to set up that play-action pass, get Jamar Chase open, because he is going to be a stud start again. He needs to pick it up just like he did last week. He looked absolutely stupendous and fabulous. Jamar Chase picks up where he left off. T. Higgins is no worse worse for wear on that injury, that ankle injury he had last week. I thought they'd use him a little bit as a decoy. Kind of felt like it. He did get some target share. He did make some receptions, but he looked healthy. Came out of that contest unscathed and uninjured, so I can trust T. Higgins this week as a low-risk play as well for your fantasy club. Tyler Boyd, on the other hand, gets a mid-level risk because I think both Chase and Higgins will feast against this Atlanta Falcons team, where Hayden Hurst gets the revenge game of the week on National Tight End Day. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be a big one. Hayden Hurst, you got to fire him up everywhere he can because he's finding the end zone 100%. I mean, I don't like to say 100%, but he's finding the end zone this week against his former club, man. The Cleveland Browns taking on those Baltimore Ravens. Jacoby Brissett, surprisingly enough, continues to find ways to lose contests for the Cleveland Browns, but he's got 4 boom games. And I mean, okay, it's on the lower end of the 15-point threshold, but he's still booming for you. So if you need a streamer as well, Jacoby Brissett has been somewhat reliable this season. You can trust him if you require a streaming quarterback. Nick Chubb, again, stud start week in, week out. You don't even have to think about it. He is just putting up numbers. Yes, last week didn't go as planned and hoped for, but he should get back in the good grace against Baltimore, who is struggling somewhat on the defensive side of the ball this year. Kareem Hunt, very low floor right now. He's almost a high risk at this point. 2 or 3 games in a row of very poor productivity. I cannot stomach it anymore. You cannot force this into your lineup unless you're just, again, dreadful with bye week troubles. But Kareem Hunt, I will look in another direction this week unless until he turns positive values on the point production, I should say. But Amari Cooper does get a low-risk play. He's the only consistent receiving option in this offense, even though Donovan Peoples-Jones had himself a decent day last week, just under 10 points, I believe. But, I mean, it was okay, but will it continue? I highly doubt it. I think Amari Cooper gets back in the good books once again this week against the Ravens defense, who also struggle against the pass in a lot of situations. David Bell, we're still waiting for that bell to ring. It has not. He is still on the bench or on the waiver, obviously. David Njoku, National Tight End Day, mid-level risk, man. Fire up Njoku wherever you got him because I think we're going to see a lot of tight ends score this week and put up a lot of points. I'm playing David Njoku this week as well. The Dallas Cowboys, they get some good fortune back versus these Detroit Lions coming off the bye week. Dak Prescott is back from the thumb injury. We'll see how this goes. They said he looked good throwing in practice all week. We will see, man. That thumb is a problem. They always said, if you break your thumb or if you have to have it surgically repaired, your thumb will never be the same. We'll see how it goes. He gets his mojo back within the first quarter, and then we'll see how he plays for the rest of the contest. I do believe they will try to run the ball a lot versus this leaky Lions defense. Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard both get a low-risk play for me this week. Fire these 2 individuals up, these gentlemen up, and it's the first time I think I've had a low risk on Zeke all season long, but I think he gets in the end zone once again, has a very decent day, but I think Tony Pollard could establish that deep, explosive playmaking ability that we've come to get used to about his game. Tony Pollard and Zeke, low-risk plays for me, as well as CeeDee Lamb. We're going to see Prescott try to spread the ball around the field to his wide receivers, and I think CeeDee has a very good day. Also, Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, high-level to mid-level risk for both these players. I think that Dak's going to want to go back to the well and see what was successful when he was on the field, and that is, of course, Pollard, Lamb, and Zeke. So I think those are your 3 individuals you're looking for to play in this contest. Dalton Schultz, I am not trusting this man until we see it. He was a late, inactive in that last contest last week. Killed everybody who played him. He is an injury risk big time for me. I will not play him. That Ferguson kid looked good on the field last week, so I wouldn't be shocked if they do bench Dalton Schultz in resting up that PCL strain that he does have, and play Ferguson would be in their benefit. The Denver Broncos, and it continues the let's die, it's not let's ride. This team looks awful, man. They cannot put up points. It just looks like a complete dumpster fire going up against the up-and-coming New York Jets, who are actually 4-2, if you can believe it. That defense, y'all, I'm telling y'all, in New York, that defense is building in the right direction. Sauce Gardner is the next coming great island corner, man. I'm telling y'all, love his game. Russell Wilson may not suit up in this contest. Watch out for that. This could make it even worse for the Denver Broncos. He's got a hamstring injury, and he may not play, so Rippon would be the backup. Don't even look in his direction. And then this offense would completely change to all high risk except for the running back room. where we could see them actually utilize volume and control the clock with a rip-in and hopefully move it with some play-action pass. But this game could get very ugly. Even though it's been pretty ugly with Russell Wilson, it's very tough to trust. Courtland Sutton's been your only consistent wide receiver, and even on that, it's not as good as we want to see in point productivity. Jerry Jeudy hit and miss. You can see he's visibly frustrated on the field with the lack of targets, lack of opportunity. This offense needs something to happen in a big way. Greg Dulcich, the rookie tight end, he looked good. He caught his first touchdown pass, but again, it's a high-risk play until we see more consistency out of it. I'm likely staying away from all Denver Broncos this week, even though it is the New York Jets. The Jets are up and coming on the defensive side of the ball, like I said. The Detroit Lions coming off the bye week 1-4, going to Dallas, facing these Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a tough day because we do got DeAndre Swift. He is drawing the questionable tag. They're saying he did a limited practice for most of the week, so this is a good sign. Hopefully he suits up. He said he's on the right side of playing this week, but it is a scary thing to say. Even though if he plays, you got to plug him. No question about that. You got to play DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams will get his share of his touches as well. Mid-level risk. He's done an admirable job and then some filling in for DeAndre Swift and supporting this run attack. Jared Goff, mid-level risk, because I do believe they're going to have to throw the ball a lot, but this Dallas pass rush will be in his grill all day long, so you got to fear just a little bit for the life of Jared Goff. So they definitely got to establish this run. They do get Amon-Ra St. Brown back this week as well. Low-risk level play. He's just going to give you that high-end upside every single week. They're just going to try to pepper him quickly with the hot reads as that Dallas pass rush does come at Jared Goff. And then again, TJ Hawkinson, low-risk level play, tight end, National Tight End Day. Low-risk play for TJ Hawkinson. I think he's been very consistent the last few games, just like I wanted to see him come out and show. He's showing it once again that he is worth the price of admission. The Green Bay Packers taking their lack of talents, I guess, recently to the Washington Commanders. The Commies, they got some problems with themselves, but Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what's going on with you. You looked horrific last week. The Jets owned you, and I mean, they owned you. What else can I say? They absolutely killed you guys. But Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, I think it's time you go back to the well a little bit. Establish the run game just a little bit more. Get that play-action pass for Aaron Rodgers working. But we need wide receivers to step up, man. We did see Robert Tonyan step up last week. Allen Lazard has been a very consistent threat for him, but it's just not enough supportive pieces. We need Romeo Doubs to start doing something. We do got Christian Watson out and Randall Cobb out of this contest due to injury, so Amari Rodgers, I'm assuming, is the next man up in the rotation. Maybe Amari could actually showcase my belief in him. I know he's a good player, man. It just needs some opportunities. Do not drop the ball like you have been doing the past few weeks, and even in your rookie season, you're just dropping the ball. But I mean, come on. We need Amari Rodgers to, pick it up and get that short option for Aaron Rodgers, the comfortable passes, the hot reads in that direction. But this game is very interesting. It's a must-win for Green Bay. They need a massive get-right game, and it starts with Aaron Rodgers and this run game. So for me, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, I'm going with Jones first. A.J. Dillon, I would likely keep on my bench at this point until we see how they utilize him. But Allen Lazard is a definite start for me. I think he's just been too consistent, and you could even fire up at Robert Tonyan, because he could be picking up where he left off last week, man. The Houston Texans, man, they're going up against the Las Vegas Raiders up in Las Vegas. And this is an interesting game because Dameon Pierce now is up in my good graces. He's looked good. What else can we say? It's volume dependent. The more volume that Dameon Pierce gets, the more productivity he's giving us. So, I mean, that's a good sign. Low-risk level play for a Dameon Pierce. Davis Mills gets mid-level risk because I think he's going to be able to at least pass the ball somewhat against this Vegas Raiders team, and it's going to go to Brandon Cooks, man. Okay, Sexy Rexy Burkhead, you're not even looking in that direction, but Brandon Cooks, low-risk level play. I think he gets a very good contest, gets force-fed a lot in this game as Pierce is running the ball, controlling the clock, and hopefully they score some points. Everyone else is a high-risk level play versus the Vegas Raiders. I do not trust it, do not like it. You got to move on from that team in that respect. The Indianapolis Colts going to Tennessee, face those Titans in a big divisional contest. Matty Ice got back in a big way last week. He looked absolutely fantastic, like a vintage Matt Ryan. He looked great. He's a mid-level risk going up against the rested Tennessee Titans coming off the bye week. Jonathan Taylor is a low-risk play, even though he is coming off the injury. They said he's still questionable tag, but I didn't see it on the injury report, so he's good to go. Fire up JT wherever you have him. Same with Naheem Hines. He's back from the injury, but he's a high-level risk. Deion Jackson, he could be the guy that you're still, plugging and playing as the handcuff. As long as JT's there, I would not do that, sirs and ladies, because it is not a good thing. Michael Pittman, low-level risk. Same with Alec Pierce. They're starting to figure out this pass game just a little bit, man. They're force-feeding Michael Pittman. He's just returning you the favor. Alec Pierce is finding opportunities that are outside of Michael Pittman. So you can trust both these wide receivers as long as Matt Ryan is not turning the ball over and they can establish some form of the run. That's what Deion was doing last week. They started the run. It was working, and Matt Ryan was getting time in the pocket to dissect defenses. So this could be once again happening against the Tennessee Titans. Paris Campbell, Mo Alley Cox, I will not trust this week because it is Mo Cox, Mo problems, but one of these tight ends is definitely going to score this week. They got three of them, Mo Alley Cox, Granson, and the other one, Woods. They're all, interchangeable at this point in this offense. They could score at whim, and we don't know which one it's going to be. So that's a situation I want to stay far away from. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the New York Giants, who are actually 5-1, if you can believe it. Trevor Lawrence, he looked better, much better last week. I was saying I was fading him down my board because his play was so porous. He looked actually very good last week. Started to, understand, forget what happened the past week. Move on, have that short memory. I like him this week as a mid-level risk play. I think that even though the Giants defense has been playing very well, I think this is a very good test at home for Trevor Lawrence to show what he is capable of. Is that next level step going to happen for Trevor Lawrence, or is he going to, again, fade back in progression? I want to see it continue to rise. James Robinson, mid-level risk, where Travis Etienne is getting the low risk. Travis, my guy, I knew it was going to happen. We just had to be patient, and now they're starting to give him a lot more volume, a lot more touches in both the run and the pass games, and he is starting to repay us. 51.2 points for Travis Etienne so far. He's got 2 boom games, I believe, in the past 2 weeks as well, so you got to like what you're seeing. We can trust absolutely Travis Etienne moving forward until otherwise stated. Travis Etienne, fire him up. James Robinson, goal line dependent, I got to say, at this point. Christian Kirk, he found his way back to the end zone last week, and he is, again, a low-risk play. They got to get back to the good graces of feeding this man the ball. This is what has been moving this offense very well in Jacksonville. Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, very much interchangeable pieces. Injury risk this week to a Marvin Jones. If he does not go, Zay Jones is a very safe flex play in PPR. Upside, no kidding about that. Zay Jones will catch a lot of balls. He may not find his way into the end zone, but he'll get you a lot of passes to come his way. Evan Ingram, low upside this week because I think they're going to go to the run a little bit more, even though this is a revenge game as well for Evan Ingram going up against the Giants. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you fire him up because he could find his way into the end zone and have a big game on National Tight End Day. I told you this is going to be the word of the day. Kansas City taking their talents to the San Francisco 49ers with a newly acquired Christian McCaffrey. This should be a very good show now. Patrick Mahomes licking his chops after the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen smacked him in the mouth and won that contest. I mean, okay, it was a good game. I'm not going to put him out like that. Patrick Mahomes played well. He did throw some interceptions, but this week he's going to want to prove that he is back to being Patrick Mahomes, where nobody can stop him. Stud start, I'm giving it to him, even though the San Francisco 49ers defense does look like they are getting healthier by the minute. I still believe that this is a big statement game for a Patrick Mahomes coming off the loss to the Buffalo Bills. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he did fail himself and his owners last week. First time this season, really. I mean, it was under 4 points. It was not a good showing for him at all. They didn't utilize him in the pass game like they have to up his PPR points. But this week, I give him a mid-level risk. I think he does get more involved this week in this contest. Juju does get back in the good graces against our Buffalo Bills. I'm giving him mid-level risk. I want to see another outing like we saw versus Buffalo before I can actually put my stamp of approval. But again, bye week troubles. I see a lot of people starting them this week, including myself. So let's go Juju, man. Let's see what you can do. Let's hope for the best. McCole Hardman is a mid-level risk, and the interesting caveat I'm going to put on this is that they are starting to utilize him in similar plays that they used with Tyreek Hill last year and throughout his career in Kansas City. There were those shuffles and motions in the backfield, the short ins, the short outs, and getting him in middle of the space. He did score a touchdown. Will this be consistent? It's to be seen, but at least they're starting to flirt with the idea of using McCole Hardman's speed like they did with a Tyreek Hill. Maybe it comes to pass. Maybe it was just a one-off, but he does get a mid-level risk. MVS is a high risk. Do not look in his direction where Travis Kelce is that stud start. I mean, good God, this guy is just a cyborg, and he should, again, find his way into the end zone like automatic. It's no question. The Los Angeles Chargers bolt up. It has not been pretty in LA. They're going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Justin Herbert, man, I'm sorry. Once again, this is third week in a row. I got you at a mid-level risk because you are just not putting out the show that we want to see. It's got to be the ribs. I told y'all, it's very difficult for a quarterback to play through this type of pain tolerance, and it is a big problem for Justin Herbert and this offense. This is why they've morphed back into a more, pass to Austin Eckler. Run the ball with Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler has been a machine these last 3 weeks. 117.5 points for Austin Eckler over the last couple games. It's been absolutely glorious for Eckler owners. He is a stud start this week. We should see a very similar, outing once again. The Seattle Seahawks do struggle against the run, so expect again a big contest from an Austin Eckler. Hopefully, Justin Herbert can at least throw the ball a little bit better, but he's not going to have a lot of help because Keenan Allen is likely on the other side of playing. He's likely not going to suit up in this contest. I would be very surprised if he does. Mike Williams is basically taking a nap. I don't know what is going on with you, but I get it. Again, the passes are just not coming to the point where they need to come from Justin Herbert. DeAndre Carter will take the place of a Joshua Palmer, who is out with a concussion in this contest. So Carter is an interesting play if you're really stuck at the flex spot. I don't hate the play because he will see targets now that Palmer is out and he is doing some damage. If Keenan Allen is also out, Carter is definitely a start in your leagues this week. Gerald Everett, this is somewhat of a revenge game too. He played in Seattle, tight end, National Tight End Day, stud start. I'm telling y'all, this is the word of the day, stud start for Gerald Everett, man. I gotta love it. Fire him up everywhere you got him. The Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Houston Texans. Derek Carr, man, low-risk play for me. They got to get right after their bye week. They got to look better. 1-4, it's not looking good. Devontae Adams pushing that cameraman, not looking good. Legal troubles coming, potential suspension coming. They got to get this win. So for me, Doug Carr, low risk. I think they're going to do very well against this Houston Texans secondary, who has been improving as well, but they got some holes that they could be exposed upon. Josh Jacobs, stud start. He has been an absolute revelation. He wants his bag. He is on a contract year. I had a feeling he was just going to blow up this year because he wants his money. The Vegas Raiders likely will not pay him since they gave up the fifth-year option. He will be playing somewhere else next year, but he is auditioning for other teams this season. Stud start for Josh Jacobs once again. Stud start for Devontae Adams as well. 4 boom games coming off the bye. Rested, healthy versus a lesser Houston Texans club. You could trust it, man. It's completely automatic. We do got Darren Waller. He is out of this contest, so Foster Moreau, TD upside maybe for you guys this week if you're really stuck at a tight end. I don't even like that, so look in another direction, I should say, as I stumble with my words. But Hunter Renfrow is well coming back, but he did have a hip injury, so he is a questionable as well. Same with Mac Hollins. He is a questionable with a foot, so there's a lot of injuries, so that's why you got to go to the well. It's going to be Josh Jacobs. It's going to be Devontae Adams. Force-fed the rock all day long. You got to love it for your top-end players for the Las Vegas Raiders, man. The Miami Dolphins, they get some good grace. They get Tua Tagovailoa back, thankfully. It was a scary scene, man, watching him bounce his head off the turf. He said he didn't remember where he was. Just awful scene. Squish the fish is obviously our mantra here in Buffalo, but I'm telling y'all, it's good to see Tua back on the field. No kidding, man. So a mid-level risk coming back. We'll see how Tua performs. He likely is going to take a couple series to get his feet wet once again, but I think he's going to have a very good day against Pittsburgh, who will, they came out and played. Everyone thought that they were not going to show up versus Tampa Bay, myself included. That's just what our Buffalo Bills did to Pittsburgh. We thought that Tampa Bay could replicate it. They did not. So Miami, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher contest than we expect, especially with Tua coming back from the injury, but mid-level risk for Tua. Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, it's an extremely difficult backfield to trust at this point. We're seeing a lot more touches go to Raheem Mostert where, we're seeing some, specialized plays in the pass game, red zone opportunities going to Edmonds. Again, hit and miss, mid-level risk. You pick your poison. If you have one of these individuals and you have no other options, I get it. You're firing them up. But if it is for my money, I got to feel like it is Edmonds' week this week. As they've been kind of riding Mostert the last couple weeks, it's time to show Edmonds what he could do. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Tyreek gets a low-risk play. We're so with Jalen Waddle, except he's dealing with that shoulder injury. So maybe the target share goes a little bit more in the direction of a Tyreek Hill this week. And potentially, again, Mike Gesicki, who came off a banger of a contest this past week. We shall see what will happen with Jalen Waddle. I mean, they're saying he's going to suit up. It's not as severe as we all could, think and imagine. But Jalen Waddle, if he is playing, definitely low risk because Tua's going to feed him and Hill all day long. Potentially, Gesicki does get a tight end, TD on National Tight End Day. I told you, you're going to be sick of it by the time I'm done with this show, man. The New England Patriots going up against the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football, like I mentioned. Bailey Zappi is looking good. He goes over 300 yards last week, putting into question, is Mac Money Jones the guy in New England, if you can believe it? So they're saying Mac Jones, he is progressing very well. He did have limited practice and participation this week in practice off the injury, but I do believe that Zappi is going to play over Mac Jones this week. Really, would Bill Belichick have any need to bench him at this point until Mac Jones is completely healthy? Why risk the ankle? I do believe Zappi's going to play in this game, and I think he's going to do very well against the Chicago Bears. Zappi does have an arm. He is still mid-level risk, so it's a little bit more of a tricky stream option. I wouldn't trust it if I were you. Look elsewhere, but I mean, he is starting to climb and make some waves, make some noise. By the time it does come to fruition, I mean, Mac Jones probably is going to come back into the starting spot anyway. Ramondre Stevenson is the low risk. Dre, he looked great last week, but Damian Harris, he's feeling a little bit, of the pinch. He's got back quick after that hamstring injury. There is a mid-level risk on Harris. I think they're going to nurse him a little bit in this game. Why re-aggravate the injury, especially against, the Chicago Bears as well? You're still 2-3. You need a contest. You need to win this contest to stay in the good graces. I mean, so it is. It's one of those contests in New England. I think that they definitely require the win. So why would you, utilize Damian Harris that way? Ramondre Stevenson should be the guy to get the bulk load of the touches. Jacoby Myers, mid-level risk. He's giving you quality PPR upside, where Tyquan Thornton is doing extremely well. Good upside for him as well. He just manages to find a way to the end zone, making big plays. He does have that sub 4.4 wheels you love. So, I mean, Tyquan is one of those sneaky sleeper plays this week. I think he does have a good day as well. Devontae Parker, I'm going to put him as a high-risk play, as I think they're going to try to see what they have in Thornton a little bit more, and Hunter Henry gets a mid-level risk on National Tight End Day. New York Giants going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I mean, Daniel Jones, again, what can I say? I got to pull back on my disrespect calling him Daniel Pennies, man, because Danny Dimes, he's back. He's looking good. He's looking sharp. And Brian Dable, head coach, has got him playing some good football. And you can't hate it, man. Mid-level risk going up against Jacksonville's defense that has some ups and downs, but they are a quality unit that can rush the passer very well. And I think if this O-line does not protect Daniel Jones, he's going to be running for his life a lot in this game. It's surprising to say a 5-1 New York Giants team is the underdog going to Jacksonville. I'm shocked in that one. -3. I think I'm siding with the Giants on this one because of this guy, Saquon Barkley, stud start, obviously 6 boom games in a row. You got to love this, man. 113.6 points. Yes, he's been curtailing off the top-end production that we're, hoping for every single week. This could be a big one for Saquon this week once again. Darius Slayton was the forgotten man last week. Move on from his services and start up Wan'Dale Robinson. Low risk, man. Play this man right now. The Giants' new brass, the Brain Trust, they handpicked a Wan'Dale Robinson to be the guy in New York, man. So he is the guy they're going to force feed. They're going to want to see what they have in this man. He showcased it just a little bit last week, found his way into the end zone. Wan'Dale, you can trust 100% this week, as well as Daniel Bellinger. I told y'all 3 weeks in a row now. He's a mid-level risk play. He's starting to find ways to be involved in this offense, and Brian Dable is starting to trust him. They keep him on the field to block for Saquon Barkley in this run game, opens up the play action pass and red zone opportunities. If you need a tight end on National Tight End Day, I'm telling you, Daniel Bellinger is the guy that I would definitely look at for a streaming tight end option this week against those Jacksonville Jaguars, because he could find his way to very good productivity. The New York Football Jets going up to the Mile High against the Denver Broncos. Like I said, high-level risk for the MILF, the Cougar Killer, Zach Wilson. They're simplified this offense so much, and it's got Elijah Moore so upset that they actually benching him this week, and they're saying they're not trading him. They're just going to sort it out in the locker room. I don't know. This is an interesting situation to keep tabs on in New York. But they've simplified the playbook so much. It's become run heavy, and then, try to complete a pass. 10 of 18 for like 120 yards last week, and they still beat the Green Bay Packers. This is what they're doing. They're figuring out ways to be efficient until they unleash Zach Wilson a little bit more. I want to say 2 to 3 more weeks before they start opening up the playbook just a little bit more. But Breece Hall, Michael Carter, they've been running the ball very well. Stud start for Breece Hall. Even though the Broncos are very good against the run, I still trust everything Breece Hall is doing on this field. He looks like an absolute revelation dynamo. Anybody that had trust, myself included, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You got a 100-point running back at this point in week number 7 as a rookie, man. That is no small feat. Good job for everybody who listened and trusted my advice on that one to draft Breece Hall. Michael Carter is a mid-level risk. He's hit and miss. He's going to get some goal line opportunity. He's going to have to make the most of his touches to see the point productivity. But again, if you're stuck, I don't hate the play versus Denver, but I would rather, look somewhere else and trust in Breece Hall this week. Garrett Wilson, you're very close, man, to being a high risk, and it's not your fault. It is because the pass game can't support it with Zach Wilson right now. You almost want to see Joe Flacco playing so we can get Garrett Wilson back in the good graces. I got to bench him this week. I can't do it. Garrett Wilson's on the bench. Do not trust it whatsoever. Braxton Berrios is going to start over in Elijah Moore, likely in the slot. Maybe he sees another end zone trip off some trickery. Can't trust that either. Corey Davis, mid-level risk. He's starting to curtail his stat line as well because of the pass game. Hard to trust it as well. So you got to pick one of these wide receivers. I do not. I am not. Tyler Conklin is also, a high-risk level play. So they're going to find a way to grind this one out again, likely with the run game, and one of these wide receivers will catch a touchdown pass. Highly likely. I just can't trust it, and I don't want to, put you guys in a negative if I call it the wrong way. So just keep all the Jets on the bench outside of Breece Hall at this point. Pittsburgh Steelers taking their talents to Miami in the heat. Kenny Pickett, he was cleared to play off the concussion. He still is a high risk. We got to see this offense move and generate consistency with the rookie quarterback. Najee Harris found the end zone, but he only got, 11 points, half PPR? You can't trust that. He still killed you. If it wasn't for that touchdown run, he had 15 carries for 35 yards? That was not going to get it done. I had him as a bench last week. He saved his day with the touchdown, but he didn't get you a whole lot else outside of that. Again this week versus Miami's front seven that is very stout. I don't like it. We got to see Najee have some big-time games before we can trust it, but that also comes with the better passing aptitude of a Kenny Pickett. Deontay Johnson gets the mid-level risk along with a George Pickens. Miami's defensive secondary has been blown up with injuries this season, so they are susceptible to giving up big plays. Are they terrible as a unit? No, they are very good when healthy, but they are susceptible right now because they are playing a lot of injuries. So both Deontay and George Pickens should see decent quality targets that could turn into good point productivity. The caveat, I'm putting high risk on Chase Claypool, but they may want to showcase his talents in a potential trade looming. We're here in Green Bay, potentially could be looking at Chase Claypool, so maybe they highlight him this week and say, hey, this is what you could get, or they do not target him at all in hopes to not get him injured and ship his services. So that's a tricky one. That's why I got the high risk on him this week. Pat Freiermuth, the Muth, is back in the game after missing the week for concussion protocol. He is a low-risk play as well. 3 boom games in this offense. Freiermuth has been one of the most consistent players, along with a Deontay Johnson, to give you point productivity. Definitely fire up Pat Freiermuth on National Tight End Day. I told you, I love it. San Francisco taking on those Kansas City Chiefs. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, got a new toy in the backfield, and his name is Christian McCaffrey. Unbelievable. 6 boom games in Carolina on such a horrific offense. Christian McCaffrey's an all-star. We know this. What is his game going to be this week? highly unlikely he's going to see a big dose of touches. So I get it. You have CMC, you got to fire him up, but this is going to be probably the 1 week where it could be regrettable. They will have sub packages 100% involved for Christian McCaffrey, especially if they're in the red zone. Try to get him in the end zone. So you might see, I want to say 10 to 12, 15 touches for CMC this week with a potential touchdown because they will utilize him in the red zone. So the Chiefs defense is susceptible as well to giving up plays like we saw from the Bills. San Francisco coming off the loss to the Falcons. They're going to want to get right in a big, big way. But Jeff Wilson this will likely be one of the last games that we see Jeff Wilson fantasy viable. He gets a mid-level risk this week, and wait till, Christian McCaffrey gets his feet wet in the playbook. Then we can, fade Jeff Wilson, unfortunately. He's been playing good ball, man. 59 points. You can't hate that. But Deebo Samuel, stud start once again. Now we got an offense with Deebo and Christian McCaffrey. Good Lord almighty. What are we going to see Kyle Shanahan, produce in his potential genius? We shall see. Brandon Ayuk, he repaid me for my trust last week. I told you how to start Ayuk, and he just did wondrous plays last week. Mid-level risk again this week. I think that, they're going to have to feed Brandon Ayuk to keep this offense moving and consistent. I think it's very good. He will be hit and miss. Only 2 boom games so far this season. It does hurt you overall when he doesn't hit, but when he does, it's a big one in a big way. George Kittle, stud start. He is the inventor, if I'm not mistaken, of National Tight End Day, so you are starting him up, no problem, no questions asked. We know Kittle's always a start, but stud start of the week for sure for these 49ers on National Tight End Day. Seattle Seahawks going to Los Angeles to face those Chargers. Geno Smith, man, low-risk play. He's just doing everything we require of a streaming quarterback, now likely the starting quarterback for a lot of fantasy clubs this season. We got Kenneth Walker III. He's been doing very well since, taking over for Rashad Penny. He's just a dynamo, man. If you guys go back to my previous work and check out the scouting reports, you would see that I was gaga over this man's game, and he is just repaying us already. 2 boom games already for a Kenneth Walker. 43 points in those 2 contests in relief of Rashad Penny. You gotta love it. DJ Dallas, you're not even touching that because Kenneth is going to see all the volume. Tyler Lockett is the one question mark we do have. They're saying that he is going to suit up in this game, but definitely watch that injury report on Sunday because he could be a late-round scratch, which would lift DK Metcalf into the good books. I want to say both these individuals could likely have a very big contest, but if it is, I got to pick the poison. It's got to be Tyler Lockett this week, bouncing back from 2 subpar showings where DK Metcalf, he will have some big plays as well. I think you could start both of them up this week versus the LA Chargers defense that has been struggling a lot versus the pass. Noah Fant, Will Disley, they've both become pretty hard to trust as well. Disley still gives you the mid-level play. Will, both these tight ends catch a pass on National Tight End Day? We'll see. I think I've used it up, but hey, man, Noah Fant, Will Disley, if I'm picking one, it's always going to be Disley at this point until Fant shows me otherwise. Those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I am very upset with y'all, man. You got Tom Brady, you go out for a wedding, you don't even practice, and then you're yelling at your offensive lineman? Man up, man. What are you doing on that field? Tom Brady, low-risk play this week against the Carolina Panthers, who are in a fire sale, getting rid of everybody, looking to tank. This gotta, play on the heartstrings of these players. You gotta feel bad for these guys, especially on the defense. $10 they're going to shut down, and Tom Brady's going to have a rebound game of sorts after they laid an absolute horrific goose egg for all of us last week versus the Steelers. Low risk for Tom Brady, low risk for Leonard Fournette. Fire both these men up. I do believe it is going to be a much better showing. Mike Evans, again, low risk play. Chris Godwin, low risk play. This is a bounce back, and if they fail me on this one, I will be so angry with this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. You have no idea. 13 points these guys are favored by, and you got to believe that they're going to get right in a big way. No way Tom Brady wants to be embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, and he's going to take out his frustrations on a rebuilding now Carolina Panthers team. Cameron Brate and Julio Jones will not play in this game. Cade Otton is one to watch. PPR upside 4 tight ends. I don't know if he finds his way into the end zone, even though it is National Tight End Day, but I'm saying he could be one that you could look at for PPR upside. Full PPR leagues only, I would maybe look in his direction. Tennessee Titans taking on those Indianapolis Colts in a big divisional showdown where the Titans are coming off the bye week. Ryan Tannehill, mid-level play. We got to see this pass game speed up a little bit. I mean, what else can I say? You already got the Derrick Henry back to the good books. He's running the ball very well before they went on the bye week. Now institute that play action that works so well for Ryan Tannehill. Find Bobby Trees, Robert Woods over the middle. Try to go deep with a Treylon Burks. Mix it up, coach. You want me to come and coach on the sidelines? Because I definitely will do that to show you how it's done. I'm just playing. These guys are pros, man. I mean, but Treylon Burks, you got to get him more involved. He isn't on the injury report, which is good news at this point. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't see him on the injury report, so if he's out this week, that's on me. So definitely check that injury report, but I do believe he is playing. But him and Bobby Trees, outside of Derrick Henry, are the only ones I'm trusting in this contest. Again, no Shaquille Leonard for those Indianapolis Colts, so there is going to be room to gallop for Derrick Henry and Robert Woods. Finishing this off with the Washington Commanders, the Commies, going up against the Green Bay Packers at home. They have some injury troubles. All of a sudden, no Carson Wentz. We know he's gone 4 to 6 weeks. Diami Brown surprising out. We got Jahan Dotson. He's on the questionable with the hamstring, but he tweaked it on Thursday or Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I do not trust that whatsoever. Do not play Jahan Dotson at this point. Logan Thomas out once again with a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. So here's your offense, Washington. You got Tyler Heineke, you got Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Cam Sims, and then John Bates. He is also on the injury report as well, questionable, so they could go to the third-string tight end. Who you trusting against this Green Bay Packers team that did not show very well against the New York Jets and were gashed all over the run game? Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, you can trust both these men this week. I know we were off the Gibson bandwagon, but this is the week trying to get Heineke a little bit more comfortable. Even though he is that gunslinger type of guy, he's going to feed Terry McLaurin because that's the chemistry. They had it last year. He was able to do it. I do believe that Terry McLaurin is going to have a very good day this week. I know I said it last week, did not come to pass. But Heineke likes this, this target, this chemistry that they do possess. So he said he's not afraid to go deep, and I believe him. We've seen it in the past. Terry McLaurin, don't fail me because I'm going to have to put you down, man, to a mid-level risk like your boy here, Curtis Samuel. Dropping passes again, not looking sharp on the field. Curtis Samuel, you're in the doghouse once again for fantasy productivity. I don't like it, but I think they're going to lean heavily on this ground game in both Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Both get mid-level risks because I don't know how they're going to separate the volume, but I do believe they both will get a good share of the workload here for Washington. So there you have it. That is week number 7 of the season. Fantasy football playoffs will be coming faster than you think, so we got to get these wins. Hopefully I helped you guys out set those rosters this week. If you have any start-sit questions, drop them in those comments. I'll definitely get back to you, but nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments like I said, and we'll see you next time. I am out.